Thank God she's not yours. My husband Michael was smiling when he said it. Actually smiling. I was lying in a hospital bed, 26 hours post-delivery. My body felt like it had been hit by a truck. Everything hurt. I was bleeding, exhausted, barely able to keep my eyes open, but I was holding her. My daughter. 7 pounds, 3 ounces, with dark hair and tiny, perfect fingers wrapped around mine. Grace. I had named her Grace. Michael had just ripped open an envelope, some kind of lab results. I watched his face as he read. I saw it go white, and then I saw something I didn't expect. Relief. Pure relief. Then he smiled and said those words. Thank God she's not yours. My brain couldn't process it. What? He turned the paper toward me. I had to squint to read it. My vision was blurry from exhaustion. DNA paternity test. Negative match. Subject: baby girl Bennett and Emily Bennett mother. Probability: 0%. The words didn't make sense. I read them again, then again. The IVF clinic messed up, Michael said. His voice was light, almost cheerful. They used the wrong egg. She's not yours biologically. The baby in my arms. The one I'd carried for 9 months. The one who had kicked me awake at 3 a.m. The one I'd talked to every night. The one I'd felt hiccup inside me. Not mine. Biologically, you're just the carrier. Michael continued. He was already pulling out his phone. We can give her back. Sue the clinic. Get our money back. Time stopped. Everything went quiet, except for the beeping of machines. Give her back, I repeated. My voice came out as a whisper. If she's not your baby, Emily, why would we keep someone else's kid? To understand why my husband said those words, you need to know how we got to that hospital room. You need to know what the past 4 years had done to us. I'm Emily Bennett. I was 34 years old that day. I taught 3rd grade at a public school in Boston. I'd been teaching for 12 years. I loved my job, loved the kids, loved seeing them learn and grow. Michael and I had been married for 6 years. We met in high school. He was the quarterback. I was in the school play. It was a classic story. He asked me to prom. We dated through college. We got married at 28. Everyone said we were perfect together. Everyone said we'd have beautiful babies. Except we couldn't have babies. We tried for 2 years the normal way. Nothing. Month after month of negative pregnancy tests. Month after month of disappointment, of crying in the bathroom, of avoiding baby showers, of watching friends post ultrasound photos on Facebook while I scrolled past, trying not to cry. When I turned 32, my doctor referred us to the Boston Reproductive Center. She said IVF had excellent success rates for someone my age. What she didn't mention was the cost. $15,000 per round, not covered by insurance. Or the emotional toll. The hormone injections every day, morning and night. They made me feel insane. Mood swings, hot flashes, crying at commercials, snapping at Michael over nothing, and the waiting. 2 weeks after each embryo transfer, 2 weeks of hoping, praying, bargaining with God, and then the disappointment when it didn't work. Round 1 failed. No embryos took. $15,000 gone, nothing to show for it. Round 2 gave us hope. The test came back positive. I was pregnant. For 3 days, I was pregnant. Then the numbers started dropping. A chemical pregnancy, they called it. A pregnancy that ends before it really begins. Another $15,000. Another failure. Round 3. My body rejected the embryos completely. They didn't even implant. We were $30,000 in debt now. Nothing but heartbreak. Round 4 was our last shot. 1 embryo left. 1 chance. We'd maxed out 3 credit cards. Borrowed $10,000 from my parents. This was it. If it didn't work, we were done. When the pregnancy test came back positive, I was afraid to believe it. Afraid to hope. But hope held on. Week 5. Heartbeat detected. Week 8. Strong heartbeat. Everything looked good. Week 12. Out of the danger zone. Week 20. A girl. A baby girl. I cried during every ultrasound. Happy tears. Grateful tears. Terrified tears. Michael was different about the pregnancy. Distant. Complicated. He never said, "We're pregnant." He said, "You're pregnant." Like it was happening to me, Not us. He came to one ultrasound, the 20-week anatomy scan. He watched the screen for maybe 5 minutes, then checked his watch, said he had a conference call, and left before the doctor finished measuring everything. He worked late every night, or said he did. He came home at 9, 10, sometimes 11 o'clock, poured himself a bourbon, and stared at his phone. We barely talked. When we did, it was about logistics. Doctor appointments, bills, what we still needed to buy for the baby. Never about feelings. Never about fears or hopes or dreams. In my 7th month, I tried to talk to him about it. Michael, do you even want this baby? He looked up from his phone, annoyed. Of course I do. You don't act like it. What do you want me to do, Emily? Quit my job? Someone has to pay for all this. He gestured at my pregnant belly like it was a car payment. A burden. An expense. You make it sound like she's a bill. She cost us $60,000. That's not a bill. The words hit like a slap. I started crying. Hormones, maybe, or just sadness. Michael sighed. I didn't mean it like that. But he did. I could hear it in his voice. By month 8, I'd stopped asking him to come to appointments, stopped sending him updates, stopped expecting anything. I went to birthing class alone, practiced breathing techniques alone, set up the nursery mostly alone. My mom helped, my sister helped. Michael was always working. When I went into labor on that Tuesday morning in October, I called him from the hospital. It's happening, I said between contractions. The baby's coming now. I'm in a meeting. Michael, the baby is coming. Okay, I'll be there in an hour. He showed up 3 hours later. No apology. He just walked into the room holding a coffee from Starbucks and asked, how much longer? I don't know. Bodies don't work on schedules. He sat in the corner chair, pulled out his phone, and scrolled, occasionally looking up when I screamed. The nurse, Brenda, was amazing. She held my hand, wiped my forehead, and talked me through contractions. She kept giving Michael these looks, disapproving looks, but she didn't say anything. 26 hours of labor, 26 hours of pain and fear and exhaustion. When it was finally time to push, Michael stood up, came closer, and held my hand. You can do this, he said. For a moment, I saw him. The boy I fell in love with in high school, the one who used to leave notes in my locker, the one who proposed on the beach at sunset. Then Grace was born, and everything changed. They placed her on my chest wet, screaming, perfect. Hi, baby, I whispered. Hi, Grace. I'm your mom. I'd waited so long to say those words. Michael cut the cord, took a few photos, then went to the waiting room to call his mother. That was 40 hours ago. I'd been in this hospital room for 40 hours. Michael had gone home to shower, said he'd be back soon. He'd been gone 4 hours. Then Nurse Brenda walked in to check my vitals. Right behind her was a woman in business clothes, a hospital administrator badge, clipboard in hand. Mrs. Bennett. She looked nervous. I have some paperwork that came up from the lab, marked urgent. She handed me a manila envelope, Boston Reproductive Center logo. What is this? I asked. I'm not sure. They just said it needed to be delivered immediately. I stared at the envelope. My hands were shaking, probably just exhaustion. I was about to open it when Michael walked back in. He looked different. Freshly showered, clean clothes, but tense, agitated. What's that? He pointed at the envelope. Something from the fertility clinic. He crossed the room in 2 steps and grabbed it from my hands. Michael, let me see. He ripped it open, pulled out papers, and started reading. That's when his face went white. Then he smiled and said those words. Thank God she's not yours. Now we're back to that moment. Me in the hospital bed. Michael standing there smiling, Grace in my arms. Nurse Brenda back toward the door, her face pale, shocked. What does that mean? I asked. The test, what does it mean? It means the IVF clinic used the wrong egg, Michael said. This isn't your biological child. You're just a surrogate. We can give her back to whoever she belongs to. Give her back. My voice rose. She's not a library book, Michael. She's not your baby either. He was already dialing his phone. Mom? Yeah, it's me. Listen, something happened. The DNA test came back. The baby's not Emily's. I could hear his mother's voice on the other end. Tiny, excited. Oh, thank God. I knew something was off. She doesn't even look like family. I'd given birth to this child 26 hours ago, and my mother-in-law was relieved she wasn't mine. Mom, I'm right here, I said. Emily, you have to understand, she said through the phone. This isn't your baby. You have no biological claim to her. I gave birth to her. That doesn't matter legally, Michael said. He wasn't even looking at me. He was pacing, planning. She's not yours. The paper says so. We need to call a lawyer, figure out next steps. Maybe we can sue the clinic. Get our money back. Get our money back. I couldn't breathe. Emily, I never wanted this. His voice was cold. Matter of fact. You wanted a baby. You pushed the IVF. You maxed out our cards. And now it's not even your kid. We're done. You're leaving. The room was spinning. I'm not raising another man's child. There is no man. It's IVF. It's just wrong paperwork or something. The test doesn't lie. She's not yours biologically. That means she's not mine either. I'm out. Nurse Brenda stepped forward. Sir, you need to leave. I'm her husband. You're upsetting my patient. Leave now or I'm calling security. Michael looked at me, at Grace, at the paper in his hands. My lawyer will contact you, he said. Then he walked out. Just walked out of the hospital room 40 hours after I gave birth because he thought the baby wasn't mine, because he was relieved. I sat there shaking, holding Grace. She was sleeping now, peaceful, perfect. Nurse Brenda took her gently, placed her in the bassinet, then wrapped her arms around me. Breathe, she whispered. Just breathe. But I couldn't breathe, couldn't think, couldn't process what just happened. My husband left me in a hospital hours after I gave birth. Then the door burst open. The administrator from before rushed in, out of breath. Mrs. Bennett, I am so sorry. There's been a terrible mistake. I know, I said numbly. The DNA test. No, I mean, yes, but the DNA test was sent to the wrong room. Silence. Nurse Brenda stood up. What? These results were for the patient in room 447. Mrs. Bennett is in room 445. Someone in the lab mixed up the rooms. She handed Nurse Brenda another envelope. Brenda opened it and read. Her expression changed completely. Emily, she said softly. Grace is yours. This test shows 99.9% probability. She's your biological daughter. The words didn't register at first. What? The first test was for someone else. A different patient, different baby. This is your test, your results. Grace is genetically yours. I started laughing, then crying, then both at the same time. Where's my husband? I asked. He left the hospital, the administrator said quietly. I grabbed my phone and called Michael. Voicemail. I texted. The test was wrong. Grace is mine. Call me now. No response. I called again, straight to voicemail every time. That's when I noticed it. His phone. It was on the bedside table next to my bed. He'd left it behind. Or had he? Maybe he didn't want me to reach him. Maybe he needed time to process. I picked up the phone and stared at it. I knew his passcode. We'd always known each other's. No secrets. That was the rule. 0817. Our anniversary. August 17th. The phone unlocked. 17 unread messages, most from his mom. I opened them. Did you tell her about Jessica yet? Jessica? Who the hell was Jessica? I scrolled up. Found a group chat. Michael, his mom, his sister Ashley. The messages went back months. 2 months ago. Ashley. Michael, you can't keep seeing someone else while Emily is pregnant. That's cruel. My hands started shaking. Michael. I know, but if I leave now, I'm the villain. The guy who abandoned his pregnant wife. Mom. Wait until after the baby. Let her have the birth. Then sit her down. Tell her you've grown apart. Michael. Jessica's getting impatient. She wants me to move in with her. Ashley. Then choose. But don't string them both along. That's not fair to anyone. I kept scrolling. 1 month ago. Michael. Jessica wants to know when I'm leaving Emily. Mom. After the baby's born. You can't leave a pregnant woman. Everyone would hate you. Michael, I know. Once the baby's here, I'll tell Emily we grew apart. Make it seem mutual. Clean break. Ashley, that's still cruel. Mom, it's practical. 3 weeks ago. Michael, what if the baby complicates things? What if Emily uses the baby to keep me? Mom, then you'll have to be firm. You can still be a good father without being married to her. Michael, I don't know if I don't want to be a father at all. The words blurred. I was crying too hard to read, but I kept scrolling. There were photos. Michael and a blonde woman at restaurants, at the beach, in bed, in our bed. The bed where we'd tried to conceive, where we'd had scheduled sex for months, where I'd cried after every failed IVF round. He'd been sleeping with someone else in that bed while I was pregnant, while I was injecting hormones. While I was growing his child, he'd been planning his exit. And that DNA test, the wrong test, the one that said Grace wasn't mine? To him, it wasn't a tragedy. It was an opportunity, a guilt-free exit, a way to leave without looking like the villain. I took screenshots. Every message, every photo. Sent them all to my email. Then I called my friend Rachel. She was a family law attorney. We'd gone to college together. Emily, oh my God, did you have the baby? I did. Rachel, I need a divorce. Now. Today. What? You just gave birth. And my husband just walked out because he thought the baby wasn't mine. Because he's been cheating. Because he was looking for an excuse to leave. I told her everything. The DNA test, the wrong room, Michael's reaction, the text messages. Jessica, wait, Rachel said. He saw a DNA test that said the baby wasn't yours. And his first response was relief. He wanted to give her back. Yes. And he's been having an affair throughout your pregnancy. Yes. I'm coming to the hospital. Don't sign anything. Don't agree to anything. Don't talk to him without me there. She hung up. Nurse Brenda was still in the room. She'd heard everything. I'm so sorry, she whispered. Don't be, I said. I was numb now. Past crying, past feeling. I'm glad I know. I could have spent years wondering why he seemed distant, why the marriage felt hollow. Now I know. Rachel arrived within the hour. Power suit, briefcase, game face on. She sat next to my bed and pulled out a legal pad. Tell me everything again. Slowly. Every detail. I did. She took notes, asked questions, and looked at the screenshots on my phone. When I finished, she sat back. Emily, this is one of the worst cases of abandonment I've ever seen. How bad? He left you postpartum. He's having an affair. He tried to abandon the child based on false medical information that he didn't even verify. And we have documented proof of all of it. What does that mean? It means you're getting sole custody. Full stop. He'll be lucky to get supervised visitation. Really? Really? No judge is going to look kindly on a man who walked out of a maternity ward because he thought he found a technicality to avoid fatherhood. Grace started crying. I picked her up and started nursing her. She latched immediately. I want to file today, I said. Today? You just had a baby. Today. Before he comes back with some story about how this was all a misunderstanding. Before he tries to spin this into something else. Rachel nodded. Okay. I'll draft the papers. You rest. I can't rest. Then feed your baby. Because the next few months are going to be hard. She was right about that. Michael showed up 4 hours later, knocking on the door, tentative. He was holding flowers, roses. My favorite. Emily, can I come in? Rachel stood up. Mr. Bennett, I'm Rachel Cohen. I'm Mrs. Bennett's attorney. His face changed. Confusion, then fear. Attorney, why do you need? You can direct all communication through me from this point forward. Emily, what is this? I looked at him. Really looked at him. He looked scared. Guilty. Who's Jessica? I asked. The blood drained from his face. All of it. He went from tan to white in seconds. What? Jessica. Your girlfriend. The one you've been sleeping with while I was pregnant. The one you were planning to move in with after you left me. I don't know what. I held up his phone. You left this. I read everything. You went through my phone. He was angry now, defensive. You went through my phone. You went through another woman. I think we're even. Rachel stepped forward. Mr. Bennett, Divorce papers will be served to you within 24 hours. We'll be seeking sole custody, full division of assets, and spousal support. You can't do this. We can, and we are. He looked at me. Emily, please. I made a mistake. We can work this out. No. I love you. You don't. You love Jessica. Or you love whoever comes next. But you don't love me. You never did. Not really. That's not true. You said, "Thank God," when you thought Grace wasn't mine. You called her someone else's kid. You tried to leave me hours after I gave birth. I was confused. You were relieved. I saw it. Nurse Brenda saw it. And now a judge is going to see it too. Emily, please. Get out. This is my baby too. Then you should have acted like it. Get out or I'm calling security. He looked at Rachel, at me, at Grace sleeping in my arms. Then he left, flowers still in his hand. Nurse Brenda came over after he was gone. You okay? No, I said. But I will be. The divorce moved fast. Rachel filed papers the next day. An emergency custody hearing was scheduled for 2 weeks out. Michael hired a lawyer, tried to argue I was emotionally unstable, postpartum, not fit for sole custody. But we had evidence, screenshots, Nurse Brenda's witness statement, the hospital administrator's statement about the DNA mix-up, and Michael's reaction to it. The hearing was brutal. Michael's lawyer tried to spin it. Your Honor, my client was in shock. He'd just been told the child wasn't biologically his wife's. His reaction was understandable. Rachel stood. Your Honor, the test results clearly indicated they were for room 447. Mrs. Bennett was in room 445. Mr. Bennett didn't verify this information. He simply saw what he thought was an opportunity to leave his wife hours after she gave birth, and he took it. The judge looked at Michael. Is this accurate? Michael's lawyer whispered to him. Michael nodded slowly. I was confused, Your Honor, not thinking clearly. Confused enough to call your mother and discuss your exit strategy. Silence. Rachel submitted the text messages. Your Honor, these messages show a pattern of infidelity and planned abandonment spanning several months. Mr. Bennett was having an affair throughout his wife's pregnancy. He and his family were actively discussing how to leave Mrs. Bennett in a way that would minimize his culpability. The judge read through the messages. Her expression got harder with each page. Mr. Bennett, you were planning to leave your wife. It's complicated, Your Honor. It seems quite simple. You were having an affair. You wanted out. When you saw what you thought was a DNA test indicating the baby wasn't your wife's, you saw an escape route. Your Honor, I love my daughter. Then why did you suggest giving her back? Those were your exact words according to the nurse's testimony. No answer. The judge looked at me. Mrs. Bennett, what are you seeking? Sole legal and physical custody, Your Honor. Supervised visitation for Mr. Bennett. Why supervised? Because he tried to abandon our daughter based on a document he didn't even read correctly. I don't trust his judgment. The judge nodded. Granted. Sole custody to Mrs. Bennett. Mr. Bennett will have supervised visitation 2 hours per week, pending psychological evaluation and completion of parenting classes. Michael's lawyer started to object. That's my ruling, the judge said firmly. Next case. If this story resonates with you, or if you've ever had to fight for your own fresh start when life felt like it was falling apart, please consider subscribing and sharing this video. Your support helps me continue to share stories like this one. 6 months later, I was living in a new apartment. Small, 1 bedroom for me, a nursery for Grace. Much smaller than the house Michael and I had shared, but it was mine. My space, my choice, my peace. I'd painted Grace's room yellow, soft and warm. Her crib was against the window where the morning light came in. She was 6 months old now, rolling over, starting to sit up, laughing when I made silly faces, reaching for me when I walked into the room. Perfect. My phone buzzed. A text from Michael. Can I see her this weekend? He'd been doing his supervised visits, showing up on time, being appropriate. The supervisor said he seemed engaged, but I couldn't forget. Couldn't unsee that relief on his face when he thought she wasn't mine. Couldn't unhear those words. Thank God she's not yours. I didn't respond to the text. The visits were scheduled by the court. He couldn't just ask whenever he wanted. There was a knock on my door. My mom. Hey, sweetie. She hugged me. How's my grandbaby? Sleeping. Finally. Good. You look tired. I am. But I'm okay. She sat on my couch, looked around. You've made it nice in here. Thanks. Are you happy? I thought about it. Really thought. Was I happy? I was exhausted, broke, single, living in a tiny apartment, working part-time, and barely making ends meet. But I was also free. Free from a marriage that was empty. Free from a man who saw my baby as a burden. Free from pretending everything was fine when it wasn't. Yeah, I said. I think I am. Grace is 2 years old now as I'm telling you this story. She calls me Mama, says it clear and proud. Mama up. Mama look. Mama love you. Those words make everything worth it. Michael sees her once a week, sometimes twice if his schedule allows. He's been consistent, I'll give him that. But he's not her world. I am. He's the guy who shows up on Saturdays with a new toy. I'm the one who wipes her nose and reads her stories and holds her when she has nightmares. I'm the one who was there from the beginning, who carried her and birthed her and fought for her when her own father tried to walk away. When the nurse placed Grace in my arms that day, I became a mother. When Michael said, "Thank God she's not yours," he showed me he would never be the father she deserved. When I filed for divorce from a hospital bed 26 hours after giving birth, I chose us, me and Grace. That's all the family we need. People sometimes ask if I regret moving so fast, filing for divorce so quickly. Maybe you should have waited, they say. Given him time to process, maybe he would have come around. No, he wouldn't have. Because people show you who they are in moments of crisis, in moments when they think no one's watching, in moments when they think they have an easy out. My moment of crisis came 26 hours postpartum, holding my newborn daughter, exhausted and vulnerable and raw. And my husband saw a DNA test as an escape hatch, saw my baby as someone else's problem, was relieved at the thought of walking away. That told me everything I needed to know. The DNA test was wrong. It was a mistake. A terrible, horrible mistake, but it revealed the truth. It showed me who Michael really was, what he really wanted, and I'm grateful for that. Because I could have wasted years. Years trying to save a marriage that was already dead. Years wondering why my husband felt so distant. Years blaming myself. Instead, I knew, and I chose Grace. Every single day, I choose Grace. Last week, Michael texted me. Jessica and I broke up. I made a mistake. Can we talk? I stared at that message for a long time. Then I deleted it. Because it doesn't matter anymore. He doesn't matter anymore. What matters is the little girl sleeping in the next room. The one with my eyes and my nose and my stubborn streak. The one who makes me laugh when I'm exhausted. The one who chose me the moment she was born. Grace is 2 years old, and she's the best thing that ever happened to me. Not because she's easy toddlers or tiny terrorists, but because she's mine. Genetically, biologically, legally, emotionally, in every way that matters. Grace is mine, and I am hers. That's all I need. They say people show you who they are in moments of crisis. My husband showed me in 60 seconds with a DNA test that wasn't even mine, with words that changed everything. Thank God she's not yours. He thought it was his escape. It became mine. Best mistake that hospital ever made.